everybody. Wednesday night, 8 o'clock. You got In Touch with the Miller Boys, weekly talk show where we discuss and share all things impacting our communities here in the city of Fresno and the surrounding area. And tonight, we're going to be talking about, I know we're going to be talking, we haven't even shared yet, but I know we're going to be talking about some national stuff today also, because we have some tremendous national news that we want to get to. At least I know I want to get to. First of all, COVID, again, people please be aware that COVID is still on a rampage. We just went past, I think it was yesterday or the day before, we have 400,000 dead Americans from complications with COVID. So COVID is real. Here in the local area in Fresno, we got the vaccinations that are being rolled out, being provided. There was a snag with one of the facilities, I think it was Clinica Sierra, had a situation where some people from the batch they were giving out was having allergic reactions, but that does not for all of the facilities. There's not been any issues with the facility out on Spock out on Herndon, or the one that's been done over at the Fresno County Fairgrounds. So pray for me. Hopefully I'll get my vaccination this Saturday when I take my dad in to get his vaccination, given that I'm an educator and a care provider for him. Hopefully me only being 54 years old doesn't exclude me. So yeah, because the rules on the vaccination originally was you need to be 75 years old or older. And then after a couple of days, I don't know who changed it, but somebody changed it, dropped the age down to 65. And so if you're 65 years old or older, you are eligible outright to get the vaccination in Fresno County. And then there's some other exceptions. Healthcare providers, in-home providers, some educators, depending upon what you're doing on there, is on the secondary list. And so we'll see. Keep your fingers crossed for me. What's up with you, G? Hey, I like that picture.
Oh, man, yeah, that's from a while back, man. That's me standing on top of the world.
I see. I just noticed that. I like that.
See I disappear? See I come back?
You ain't going nowhere. That's just your screen. I still see you. So what's going on with you?
You can't see me now? You can see me now?
I see your big face.
But you don't see the picture behind me.
No, I don't see the picture behind you, but I see your big face.
Oh, man, I'm just just taking it all in today, watching the folks break down. It ain't cool, but it is what it is.
When you say break down, what do you mean by that?
Oh, these people are losing their power, and they don't know what to do with their little selves.
I haven't.
Obviously,
I've been kind of.
They can't understand why. You see me now?
Who was breaking down?
Oh, people just every day. I had a lady come up to me last night at work, complaining about some stuff. It was really, really, really superficial, and it was just like, do you really understand that your problems are not what you think they are? But she was complaining about people doing stuff, and it was like, that ain't your issue. Your issue is that you lose your power service and structure is gone to bye-bye. So, which takes me into what I wanted to discuss, a question. Do you think we're going to make a return back to Jim Crow and situations like that so that the power structure can stay on top? I'll be right back.
I don't see that coming because of what you always say about our ages. Jim Crow is actually a relic of the generation of our parents' generation. Your parent and my parents' generation, the baby boomers. And since the baby boomers had just got cleaned out they're dying naturally. COVID just cleaned them out pretty good. And that now there's more Americans under the age of 40 who did not grow up in Jim Crow. They read about Jim Crow. Jim Crow to this new generation is going to be like slavery to us. We never lived in slavery. We know it existed. We read about it. We learned about it. We were taught about it. We talked about it with other people. But we didn't live through that. The young folks now, the under 40 crowd, never lived through Jim Crow. They learned about it, they read about it, they heard about it, they know it's real. They still feel the remnants of it. So I don't think this younger generation is going to allow us to go back to Jim Crow, just like our generation didn't allow us to go back to slavery.
Well, do you think that the actions of the people, why do you think that Jim Crow was so prevalent when it made its rise in the United States?
Jim Crow was soft. It was soft slavery. Jim Crow, Michelle Alexander's book. So what you taught me about the amendment about slavery, the abolishment of slavery, all of those things are part or elements or relics of Jim Crow. So will there be some other form of oppression? Will there be some other form of discrimination? I'm sure that the old guard is going to attempt to try something like that. But I don't believe that the under 40 crowd, the generation that's below us, is going to play ball with them. Just like we were not, just like our generation, our parents' generation, the baby boomers, were not allowed to go back to all-out slavery. They came up with other forms of indentured servitude and bondage and all those type of things. I think that what's going to happen now is that they're not going to be able to get back to Jim Crow. I just don't believe.
I don't think Jim Crow was trying to get back to slavery. I think Jim Crow was a punishment for the release of and for the black folks at the time, to keep them in a place of subservience, not so much as slavery. They didn't care if you were slave or free, although they would have liked for you to be indentured to them. But Jim Crow was a manifestation of people having to walk on the sides in the middle of the street, giving white folks free passage on the sidewalks, not being able to look them in the eye, all types of different types of violence perpetrated, up to hanging and killing. It was a message that was sent to the African American population to stay in their place. And so I guess my question would be,
Jim Crow was also it was adjudicated law. You could get imprisoned for jaywalking. You can get imprisoned for urinating in public. You can get arrested and sent to prison for being late on your property taxes, being late on paying your bill at the store. Jim Crow was not only just people's belief systems that they adhere to. Jim Crow was based and founded and grounded and supported by actual laws, state and federal laws.
Okay, so do you think that we will see a rise in the proliferation of violence to try and keep African Americans as a permanent underclass?
No.
In our new
no.
And because of the same reasons, because you don't think that the younger population is going to allow that to happen?
Yeah, because the bulk of the young population don't care what race you are, what ethnicity you are. They don't care what your sexual orientation are. They don't even care what your gender is. They've come up with a term called, is it cisgender?
Yeah.
Are you not male or not female?
Right.
They are obliterating these lines of demarcation that society the rules of society that we had to live under, which was a little bit looser than the rules of society that our parents had to live under, a little bit looser than our grandparents, and so on and so forth. And yeah, I don't see us going back to the venom that goes along with Jim Crow. Will there be something else? Yes. I think the one big thing that where I could be wrong is if we don't change our banking system, what we're doing with our money. Because right now, college kids, the under 40 crowds, are slaves. They're slaves to the dollar. They're slaves to the banking institutions because of all of the debt that they owe to, because of student loans and all these other types of things, what's going on. So the enslaver now, in the generation of society we have now, the slaver is not individual people, it is the banking institution. Have you noticed that right now on college campuses with college kids, they're not getting inundated with those credit cards like when we were in college?
That's because the Obama, when he was in there, he changed those laws to where you couldn't pray on college campuses like that any longer.
Correct. So what are they doing now? They're giving out student. I can't remember what the acronym is now, but they're not giving out grants anymore. Most kids going to college nowadays are taking out loans, government-backed loans, low-interest government-backed loans. And yeah, the interest rate may be low, but the amount, you got kids who are getting BA degrees now that are winding up $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 in debt to get a 4-year degree. That's crazy to me. I just got a damn doctoral degree for $60,000. How in the hell is it going to take? How in the hell can you charge a kid for understudy, his getting his BA or his BS, $60,000? Here's one of the other things. You know who Malcolm Gladwell is, right?
Yeah.
The funny looking dude. He's got this. He has this podcast, and I don't remember what it's called, but I remember him in one of his podcasts doing a comparison of Canada's higher education system compared to the way we do things here in the United States. It's just the opposite. In Canada, the what we would consider the Ivy League, the Harvards, the Yales, those places like that, have the highest student enrollments. So the best colleges in Canada have the highest enrollments, whereas here, our supposedly best universities have the lowest. So it's not built on the betterment of society, it's built on the elevation of status. And so it's just, but the banking, the new Jim Crow, if Jim Crow is to come back in some other reincarnation, it would be in the banking system and the student debt that we've got. So I'm hoping that our new president, who has bounced around and considered giving a $10,000, wiping away $10,000 of student debt for anybody who owns student debt, in addition to freezing student loan repayments for a period of time. I'm hoping that he does that, because our young people right now, this is the first generation. The generations behind us is the first generation in 4 generations not to do better than their predecessors. So big old long answer.
You say not to do better
than their predecessors. So our kids' generation is not doing better than our generation, which did better than our parents' generation, which did better than our grandparents, so on and so forth. This generation right now, you think it has to do with education? I think it has to do with debt. They can't buy houses until they get into their 30s and 40s. A lot of them are deciding.
You can't buy a house, because what used to cost you $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 now costs you $350,000, $400,000. Everything, you know.
Who controls that?
Who controls that?
Yeah.
Capitalism, the
Right.
banks, the lenders, that's who controls it. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Though that's the culprit. If we're going to wind up going back to some type of some subservient standards, such as Jim Crow, slavery, and those type of things, it's going to be propagated by the banking system. We've got to do something about our banking system. Well, why are all,
I,
what is
I,
one of
I agree, but you took the conversation down a whole different path. I'm talking about African Americans in our society looking at the violence that's going to come our way and the immediate, not so much.
I don't think
Uh,
violence is coming. I don't. I don't think
okay,
that violence is coming in the way that I'm hearing you say this, white on black violence. I don't see that coming.
okay,
Doesn't mean that there's not going to be some violent acts like what happened at the Capitol 2 weeks ago. That wasn't a white on black crime. That was basically, as far as I define it, white on white crime. You know, other than the one brother who got pictured standing in them chairs in there in the audience, with all the different memes. But yeah, I don't foresee there being a race riot and those type of things. I just don't foresee that.
okay.
Doesn't mean that there's not going to be skirmishes. There's not going to be Charlottesville's. There's not going to be, some of the other ethnic um, ethnic clashes that happen. Doesn't mean there's not going to be skirmishes like that. But I just don't foresee, um, when people were talking about a civil war, whites versus blacks, blacks versus white. I just don't see that.
Okay. Um, all right. Well, your economic piece, I think, is correct to a point, but the point is, as long as that we're a capitalistic society and you have certain people, have you ever heard of the term gangster bankers?
No,
No.
I've heard
Um,
of too big to fail, which is bullshit.
well, that was the next place that I was going. That during that time when those banks were failing, the larger banks were gobbling up the smaller banks because
Oh,
that's where the money is. You know, the United States doesn't create or manufacture anything to put money in the banks. So the people are the product of exploitation. We are the commodity of the exploitation for the banks. If I can get into your pocket to get interest off of a car loan or off of a house loan or off of a student loan, off of anything like that, yeah, and that creates a situation where I can add a little into my pocket or a lot into my pocket, and that becomes um, my revenue stream. Not that you are out there working hard doing anything. It's just that as that corporation, that corporate interest, who is once again the people that are buying shares in Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and these different places, Citibank, they're the ones, it's the people once again oppressing and suppressing the other folks in a different manner to take the money out of their pockets.
there's two things with money that I think need to happen for the benefit of all Americans. One, they need to come up with a public way, public financing of politics. So what that means is that if you and I are running for mayor, that we are given the same amount of money out of a political coffer, which we have all contributed into, whether it be from taxes, whether it be from property taxes or sales tax, whatever, that there be a coffer that if you and I qualify, meet all the stringent qualifications to run for mayor, this entity gives you $100,000 and gives me $100,000 to run for office. And we can use that $100,000 in any way we want to, but that's all we can get. You can't go out and fundraise. You can't go out and have other people contribute to your campaign. No, we give you public money to run your campaign, and we take that out. That's one element of what goes on in finance that I think that would be to benefit to us as people. The other one is, and I don't know all the details of it, but there is some line of demarcation when banking that there used to be, I want to say it was if you were a banker who dealt with people, you could only deal with people. If you were a banker who dealt with commercial businesses and lending and stuff, that's all you could do. Somewhere down there, they got rid of those demarcations, and so now these individual bankers and bank institutions can do both.
You're talking about Glass-Steagall.
Glass-Steagall, yeah. I don't know all the details of it, but they need to go back in there and put that barrier, that divide, back in there, so that the two different types of banking systems are totally, completely different from one another. And I think that if we could do that as a public body, that would go a long way towards changing our system, our society, and the way that the capitalism is taking advantage of us right now. So have you heard McConnell? Have you been keeping up with McConnell's words?
Yeah, he's a turtle. He just stuck his head through his shoulder hole and out his anus hole in his turtle shell. He didn't totally change up his way of thinking, and now he's pleading to he's trying to keep his head above water. Yeah, he's totally made a total 180.
Because do you know what is one of the biggest motivating factors for that? Now, I don't know this to be fact. This is an opinion. What one of the biggest motivating factors is that corporate America is jumping off of these Republicans, these conservatives who were backing this bullshit that Trump won the election, all that kind of stuff. Anybody of these politicians who's saying that, corporate America is jumping off of them. Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, that crazy lady, the QAnon lady that's in the House, corporate Green. America, huh?
Her name is Green, something Green.
Yeah, those corporate America is jumping off of them like they infested with scabies. And McConnell sees that and understands that. That dude, as much as I dislike him, that dude is probably one of the most intelligent politicians we got going right now. He has a great feel for the political waves and how not to get too far one way or the other way, but just understand the dance. For him, he could care less if it's Republican, if it's conservative or progressive, Republican or Democrat. He don't care. All he wants to do is be able to stay in there and have some power in his office. He's still the top-ranking Republican in the Senate. And so he understands that he is going to be able to make some headway, and it's going to continue to put money in his pocket. Well, I shouldn't say that. What he's doing is not going to interfere with the money stream that he has coming into his personal life and into his political life. He's not going to let anybody muck that up. Where some of these other folks got aspirations.
You admire him for that?
I admire him politically. I do. I don't know if admire necessarily is the right word, but I respect what he does. I recognize game. That dude, as far as politics, I don't know if there is a more smooth operator that I've come across. He really truly understands the dance. He understands when to put his foot on the accelerator. He understands when to put his foot on the brake. And he could care less about who he's pissing off, whether it be people in his party or the other party. He don't really care, as long as he winds up being on top when it's all said and done. So I respect him for that as a politician. I don't like what he did because of not allowing Obama to get his justices. The things that the House over the last 2 years have been sending to him, the bills they've been sending to the Senate to get approved for the betterment of the people, to him not doing anything but just sitting on them, which is not anything illegal, but it's unethical. But that dude understands. Some point in time, he got to be held accountable for his action, but he's Teflon right now.
He's full of shit right now. He's bullshit. He's been bullshit. And he's a fucking snake.
Agreed.
And they need to do him like they do all snakes. Drag his punk ass out of there and cut his head off. He is no good for the country.
But how do you do that,
politics, and his politics are, as they say, politricks. And I understand why he's doing it, why he wants to stay in power. But that type of person right there is no good for the moving forward of the collective goal.
Okay, so how do you get rid of him?
You don't. He was up for re-election and he ran against somebody this year, didn't he? He beat the guy.
Lady. Was a fighter pilot lady. Yeah, he ran against.
And he beat her. So right. That's not even a question. A free a free election is how you get rid of him. But Correct. If his constituents love him and love what he's doing, then he's fine. That don't mean that he's not a piece of shit.
So how do you? I agree with you. How do you remove him from his senior position inside of the Senate, being the highest ranking Republican? It's the Republicans. It's the Republicans that are in there. The other 49 Republicans that's in the Senate that has to do that. And right now, he understands.
It's like the snake in your backyard. You know he's out there. You leave him alone. You let him do his thing, and that's all. That's all you can do. You don't attack him or go after him. He's over there doing his thing. They lost power. Now he has to play the background. So like you said, he's playing the background. He's playing the hand that was dealt to him, and he's trying to keep himself on top. I get what he's doing. I understand why he's doing it, but he's still a piece of shit.
Agree. He's an absolute piece of shit. I agree with you. But I respect him because of his understanding and maneuverability of what goes on in Washington.
I can't respect shit.
Okay.
We don't even play with that. I don't even play with that. Terrence said freezing the loans and interest was signed today.
Say that again?
Student loans, I guess.
They announced that a couple of days ago that was going to happen, though.
Well, it happened today, according to Terrence Pepper G. Grant.
What's up, T. Grant?
So yeah. I just, it's the ballet and the intricate dance. And so the understanding that I have is that you have, you go out there and you vote. If that's your way of protest, then that's your way of protest. But watch what happens to. I'll offer these two dudes up as examples of what's going to happen because they didn't understand how to do the dance. Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, Gomers or something like that. He's up there with him also. That lady who gave the people the tour. I don't know if she's in the Senate or if she's in the House, but there's a lady who is on camera giving folks a tour the Tuesday before the insurrection. And if they can identify any of those people in her party as being back in the Capitol, they're gonna get her ass too. There are some lawmakers. There's some people in the House of Representatives and the Senate who are going to be held criminally liable for what happened at the Capitol 2 weeks ago, for their roles in that insurrection. And they're going to be hit with sedition charges. Okay, you shake your head all you want to. You watch. And there's going to be conspiracy, and I didn't understand this. Conspiracy charges are as damning, if not more damning, than other charges when it all says and done. They're gonna get charged with conspiracy for that insurrection. Okay. Want to put a bet on it? Want to make a bet? I don't bet.
Okay. Want to do a wager?
What's the difference between a bet and a wager?
I don't know, but obviously there is some kind of difference because it's two different words.
Let's just say no.
You just watch. So what was your reaction to the inauguration today?
Okay.
So that's it? You didn't the moment of what was going on today, you didn't contemplate that, didn't hit you at all?
The only thing that hit me was that I would have liked to have Mom see that an African American lady took the oath of office to be vice president, and so that she could see that in her lifetime also. Other than that, man, it's a dog and pony show, partner. You know, hey, it's the Democrats' turn to do their thing with the limited responsibilities that they have to make stuff go. That's it. Okay. So it's a changing of power. It's a changing of guard.
Okay.
What was I supposed to do?
The significance of today for me, it wasn't quite to the same magnitude of when Barack Obama, when they announced that night when we was at Fresno Temple, November whatever it was, the first Tuesday in November 2008, when they announced early, because you weren't with us, but we had a not a church service, but we watched it in the downstairs at the temple. And I can remember very vividly that our polls closed at 8 o'clock. And by 8:30, 8:45, they were already calling it for Barack Obama. Even before our results were totally, the West Coast results were in. I can remember the glee, people crying, all those type of things. The only part that was missing with that today, for me, emotionally, was that Vice President Harris was only going to be the vice president. The first woman elected to the second highest office in the land, in the country, in the world, is a black woman of Asian descent from California, part of my Divine Nine family, knows a lot of the same people that I know in the Bay Area. That was touching. I won't necessarily say emotional, but that was touching for me to know how close I am personally to the White House now. She and I we're both members of BAPAC. We're both members of the African American Caucus of the California Democratic Party. So when I started kind of looking at that in totality, this is the closest that Daren Miller's life has ever been to the White House. So this was something, yeah, Barack Obama is my dog. I gave him the Wakanda today when they introduced him. And Michelle holding hand, everybody else is holding the rail coming down. They holding hands, prancing out there. So yeah, Obama was something special, but I don't know him. I don't know anybody that knows him personally. But with Vice President Harris, it's tangible for me. It's something I can put my hands on. I've got a picture somewhere with me, her, and Yvette when she was here in Fresno at an event. So this was a surreal, tangible moment for me today when she was taking the oath up there.
That's great.
So anyway, some of the other interesting things I found out. Did you see Ted Cruz's mask?
No.
When you get a chance, when we get off the air, Google Ted Cruz and see the mask he's got on. And it said his mask says something like, "I dare you to take this," or something like that. Talking about the mask he had on. You talk about assholes. That dude right there, he's one of the first legislators that need to be thrown under the jail, under the prison.
Yeah, I agree, but he sold his soul when you can't talk about my wife and call her ugly and all of that, and then talk about my dad trying to kill the president and stuff, and then think that I'm gonna come back and back you. And I understand the politics involved and all of that kind of stuff, but that is just, to me, that is retarded, because there's no way you have demonstrated and shown that you have no respect for me and my family, but I'm supposed to play nice with you? Oh no. So you sold your soul for what? For the big man? For the mighty dollar? No.
Did you get a chance to listen to Amanda Gorman?
Who's the girl, the young girl?
The young lady who gave the poem at the end?
No.
Dude, when you get a chance, you gotta go back and listen to her poem. When I listened to it the first time when she was doing it, I guess I wasn't really paying attention. You got to go back in there and check out, listen to her poem. She very eloquently hit on a lot of important issues in her poem. The hill we will climb, the hill we climb. Yeah, I give her lots of kudos. I don't know her. I've never heard of her before, never seen her before, but I give her lots of ups for what she did.
What, I mean, give me one example of why, without, you know, blowing it up. What was the significance of it? I saw her on an interview in here a few minutes earlier this evening, and she's an eloquent speaker, and she can deliver, you know, an orator, I should say. Okay.
So it wasn't like, you know, her poem wasn't what I was expecting, for one. It wasn't the roses, you know, roses are red, violets are blue. Today is Sunday, I love you. It wasn't that rhyming type of poem. It was the words that she used to express points about the struggles and the struggles that we've overcome, the triumphs that we've had, living and working together. You know, all things can be done. You know, it was that the message of hope that was in there. It was all of those things that it didn't jump out at the paper and sock you in the head. But when you listen to it the second or third time and you listen to what the words and how she combined them, oh yeah, I got it. Oh, okay, that's what she was trying to say. Yeah, so it's well worth listening to.
Was it anything different than the struggles that African Americans have been trying to overcome for the past 400 years?
It wasn't based and founded on African American. It was based on people in general, the struggles of people. So it wasn't specific. She's African American, but it wasn't specifically targeted to African Americans. It was a universal. There was elements that were specific to different people, women, you know, different people like that. But it was more universal.
Okay. And I just looked up Ted Cruz's mask. He had a cannon on it. That had a Texas star, I guess, and it said, "Come take it."
Come take it. There you go. Come take it.
What's the significance of that?
He got a mask on. He's a no masker. So it would be like me wearing a BLM, my BLM gator, to a Klan rally. There's an underlying message is in there that was placed. It was not in the right place. If you looked at everybody else's, a lot of other people's masks in there, they were plain. They didn't take the opportunity to use this stand to make a point. Everybody other than Lady Gaga. Did you see that damn eagle?
No, I didn't have time to watch today. I had to drive.
Yeah, she had a brooch on her chest. It was an eagle or whatever kind of bird, a peace bird. That thing had to have been that big. And her dress was, yeah, she wanted to be seen. She did a good job singing, but as far as her production, it was a little bit much.
So how much credit do you give Ted Cruz? How much credibility do you give Ted Cruz's actions and his understanding of what's going on or how it's supposed to happen? Or
I think he drew his you know, as a line. Trump drew a line. You either on that side over there with them, or you're on this side over here with me. Cruz got on the side over there with him, and that side got nuked. And so what the fallout is going to be, I'm not sure. But I would not be surprised if he don't get some kind of, if he doesn't get charged with the insurrection because of what he said, he is going to be disciplined in the Senate. The Senate is going to discipline him in some way, whether it be censure, whether it be removing him from his office post, his leadership roles. He's going to get some kind of accountability out of that Senate. And I don't think he's going to win the next time he runs for senator. So, because remember, it's 50-50, and to discipline him, all he's got to do, you don't have to get 2/3. All you got to do is have 51. So all you got to do is have somebody like, what's my man's name from Utah? Mitt Romney side with the Democrats, and Ted Cruz gets censored. He gets disciplined. So they said that it's not out of the realm of possibility.
You think Kamala Harris is going to allow that to happen?
Yes.
Okay.
She won't even be involved in that, because if it's 51-49, she don't have to do nothing. If it's 50-50, then she's got to make a decision. If you get one Republican to side with the Democrats, it's 51-49. It's done. She ain't got to do nothing.
So, does the President of the United States get to pretty much rule and dictate as he sees fit, or as he sits in the president seat?
Does he? He can. And we just left out of a 4-year period of time where the president believed that he had the ability to do whatever the hell it is he wanted to do because he was the president of the United States. And you're going to see all the fallout that comes from that. Biden has already said that he's not.
Who's the president of the Senate?
Kamala Harris.
So if Kamala Harris says, don't let those bills come forth, don't leave him alone, the Senate, the body of the Senate does what she says.
No. That's not the way the rules work. They already worked it out. Chuck Schumer is the one who.
You want to bet?
Chuck Schumer is the person who runs the Senate. He's not the president of the Senate, but he runs the day-to-day operations of what goes on in the Senate. Is Kamala Harris going to have some input in that? Yes. Is Joe Biden going to have input into that? Yes. But are they going to be the ones who's going to be pushing the agenda there? I don't believe so. That's not a good role for them to be in. If they do that, they're no different than Donald Trump. And I just don't foresee them doing that. If the Senate makes a decision that winds up getting 50-50, then Kamala Harris has got to make a decision on that. But if it's 51-49, she don't have to make a decision.
What if she tells them not to bring it to the floor for a vote?
She can't do that. That's not her role. I mean, she can say it, but that's not her role. That's Chuck Schumer's role. Chuck Schumer is the one who now makes the decision for what comes forward and what doesn't come forward.
Okay.
I mean, that's just the rules of the Senate. That's the way that they've got it set up. So all that stuff right now that's sitting on McConnell's desk now gets transferred over to Schumer's desk, and he, through his processes, makes decisions, sends things back to whatever the committees are and stuff, and then he makes ultimate decision about what comes forward to a vote and what doesn't. Is he going to get input from Kamala Harris? Yes. Is he going to get input from Joe Biden?
You're damn right he's going to get input from the president of the Senate to see if he can bring these bills forward.
You'll never know about that. The public will never know about that conversation. Whereas what we just had right now, everybody knew. I mean, it was, no, you're not bringing that up. I'm in line with the president. President and I have talked about this. No, we're not bringing that forward. You're not going to get that for the next 4 years.
And I don't think that Joe Biden is going to be vindictive, and I don't think Kamala Harris is going to be vindictive toward these folks to where they're gonna want to censor them and
That's not vindictive though, Gerald.
I don't,
That's not being vindictive. If I broke the law and in your role as a law enforcement officer, you come to my house and you arrest me and I broke the law, that's not being vindictive. If I didn't do anything and you come in because you're an officer of the law and you arresting me because you didn't like me or you didn't.
So who determines if what you've done is breaking the law or not?
Attorney General. The Attorney General will have some say so into legalities about who's broken the law, who's not broken the law for federal. For the state, it will be
we're talking about federal.
Attorney General, who is now, guess who the Attorney General is?
Becerra, isn't it?
Nope. The Attorney General is his name escapes me, but he was the guy.
Oh, I know who it is. It's the guy who Barack Obama put up
that they sat on. Gorsuch. Not
Gorsuch.
Neil Gorsuch. Okay, so he's the new Attorney General. So he's going to be the one who talks about legalities about what they did and what they didn't do.
He's going to take it across over there and say, "This is what I found." And they're going to say, "Okay, thank you. Got it."
Okay. That means that what you're saying right now is that Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Neil Gorsuch is no different than Donald Trump, the white-haired dude from Indiana, and Bob Barr, or whatever the hell his first name is.
What I'm saying is that's politics at that level, and that's where that's how it's played.
And it's going to change. There's no doubt in my mind that there's going to be some changes to the way the politics have been played before, because the way the politics have been played before has gotten us to what we've had to deal with for the last 4 years. Hey, before we run out of time, can I switch gears on you real quick?
Yeah, to the pardons. How do you feel about comic Kirkpatrick getting pardoned by Donald Trump, Lil Wayne, and Kodak Black? But anyway, go ahead. What were you saying?
I don't even know nothing about it. He's just trying to save face, trying to get some street cred. Have you seen the movie One Night in Miami yet?
Yes.
Okay. What's your reaction to it?
That's politics at its best. That you can argue, fuss, and fight about things that you really don't understand, make decisions based on stuff that you really don't understand, and the fallouts can be catastrophic and tremendous. But that is a part of our society, and you need to put yourself in a position to where you pay the cost to be the boss, and you can tote your own water.
Okay, I'm not following you. Can you say that more plain?
Nope. What did you think about it?
I thought that is probably one of the most influential movies that I've seen in my lifetime.
And the reason is?
Because a couple different reasons. The 4 characters in there, I knew that there was a relationship between Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown. I knew there was a tight relationship between Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. I knew that. By the way, let me start back. The context is Muhammad Ali is my all-time numero uno American. Actually, man on earth. He's above King. He's above Gandhi. Whoever else you can come up with, Muhammad Ali for me is numero uno. Okay? So I've watched, read, learned about his life and everything that's going on with him. So I knew about the type of relationship he had with Malcolm X. I knew that he had some type of relationship with Jim Brown through the athletic side of it. And I just recently watched the documentary about Sam Cooke and found out about the relationship that he had with Muhammad Ali. Did not know that this One Night in Miami, which actually took place, all 4 characters are there. As I'm watching it, and the whole struggles that goes on with each of their characters that goes on in this. The one that is the most, and I watched it 3 times now, not the whole movie, but just this part of it, is the dialogue that goes on, the interaction that goes on between Malcolm X and Sam Cooke. That is the same struggle, the same things that African American men, the struggle that they're having with each other right now.
Explain.
Malcolm X was doing his thing in a military fashion, in a militant fashion. Had believed in the Nation of Islam, had given everything in his life and recruited people to the Nation of Islam, only to pull back the covers and find out that this entity, this thing that he had given his life to, was truly not what it professed to be. So he had led people to something that wasn't actually there. So Malcolm X is struggling with this internally. Sam Cooke, on the other hand, is doing great work in the business world. As a capitalistic person, he's doing great things. I didn't even notice in the movie. He owns his masters. He's got these groups. People are writing songs and getting paid for it. The black folks are all mad because these white boys, Pat Boone and them, was all singing their songs and stuff and getting credit for it. Sam Cooke understood the person who makes the money in entertainment is not the performer, it's the person who writes the songs. It's the managerial groups. So he understood that game. So so also the other part that goes along with this is Malcolm X is born in 1929. He's the eldest. Sam Cooke is born in 1932 or 4. Jim Brown is born in 1936. Muhammad Ali is not born until 1943. So when you know who's the baby in the group, who's the elder statesman, all those struggles that's going on, dude, that is incredible. And I think that
why I don't understand. What was so great about the dialogue between the two?
It originally looked like they did not like each other. You're not black enough. You're not white enough. You fetching in, you shucking and jiving for the white folks. Well, you out there, all you is white folks are the devil, and so it looked like there was this struggle and this battle that was going on between the two of them. When really, in actuality, what the two of them wanted from the other is the best. Malcolm even says that in this movie, the reason if I get on you so bad is only because I see the potential of what you could do. Because you have an audience. You have an audience of black folks and white folks. You can take your voice and your ability, your musical ability, if the message is right and it crosses over all the barriers and lines that are out there. And so Malcolm didn't necessarily understand and appreciate what Sam Cooke was doing, because Sam was talking about the I can't even think what a boy's name is. How many? Anyway, that song came out about the war and stuff. Sam Cooke talked about when he first heard that song, he was pissed off because the white boy did a great job of it. The song was good, and that song should have been me. I should have been singing that. So I know I'm into it pretty deep because of where I am with Ali and all those type of things. Jim Brown, I did not realize that he's another person who gave up everything that everybody said he should have had and should be doing to do what he wanted to do. Remember the scene where he's on the movie set? And I've seen this before, but just not in this context. Because the Cleveland Browns will not allow me to finish this movie and show up to camp late the year after he sets the rushing record without having hefty fines. I announce my retirement. I give up football. I give up being your gladiator to do what it is I want to do, which is make movies. That you just don't see people doing that today. Muhammad Ali, after this later on, gives up his boxing champion, gives up his title because he refuses to go to the war. Because he not even go to the war, but he refuses to go through the draft induction.
So why is Muhammad Ali your warrior king, your
because
person that you hold up?
Because at the height of his ability, the thing that he did best, being the best singer, being the best boxer, being the best basketball player, the best violinist, the best dancer, whatever the best is, he gave that up for his principles. He said, these people do not respect me as a man. So why would I enlist into their army to go disrespect other people? 26, 27, 28 years old, in the prime of his heavyweight boxing career, he gave that up to validate himself. I don't know of another person who's done that. Jim Brown, now that I'm kind of, I need to be doing more reading on Jim Brown, which is the only one that's still alive. Sounds like he kind of did that also.
Colin Kaepernick.
He didn't give it up, though. He didn't give that up. He made a stance. His stance cost him his job. They didn't extend his contract, and he never got a different contract. I understand he stood by his principles, but it's a little bit different. Muhammad Ali gave it up.
Yeah, you kind of have to give it up when you go to jail. He stood by his principles and paid a hefty fine for standing by his principles. Yeah, a lot of black folks do that, but we talked about that earlier. That's what irks me so bad. That's what irks me so bad about Mitch McConnell, because he changing his leather like it's a pair of pants. You know, if the Nazis is coming, give me my German suit. if the Russians is coming, give me my Kaiser. You know, give me my Russian suit. If the Americans is coming, give me my American suit. How can you respect somebody like that? Okay. So you will say because they playing the game. Okay, I don't get down like that. You're either gonna be a man or you're gonna be a mouse.
You mentioned Colin Kaepernick.
That's correct.
Okay. Here's the difference. Colin Kaepernick was not the best quarterback in the NFL. It doesn't matter if he was the best quarterback. You asked me what the difference was.
Okay.
Muhammad Ali was the best boxer in the entire world.
Okay.
The entire continent. And he gave that up because of his principles.
Okay.
He wasn't just the best in New York or Kentucky or United States or a flyweight or whatever. He was the heavyweight champion of the world and gave that up. Didn't have to. All he had to do was say, Cassius Marcellus Clay, I'm right here. That's all he had to say to hang on to that. But it was ingrained in him and fixed in him that he was not going to do that.
Okay. I understand what you're saying. You don't have to be the best. You just have to make the stand for your principles.
Then you can't compare them to Muhammad Ali.
Bullshit. I can.
It's real easy for me.
Yes, I can. Because it's not about who you are making the stance. It's about you making the stance. Yeah. That's all.
And when you give people to make stances every day.
And that's exactly what I just said. You said, no black people don't.
There's a whole bunch of people that's making stances every day. No, they are not the best, and they are not at the top.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're the best.
You asked
me. It doesn't matter if you're the best. Now I'm telling you. I'm not asking you anymore. I'm telling you that principle that you're putting forth is bullshit. Okay. All you got to do is make your stance, and then they will show you if you're the best or not, if your stance is worthy or not.
So why is
That's what I'm
why is
talking
Colin
about.
Kaepernick not in the NFL? He made a stance.
Because
Why is he not in the NFL?
Because the same reason that Muhammad Ali couldn't box anymore.
But he did. He came back and
Because
won the championship 3 more times.
a conversation, you ask a question, you get a response. So let me give you the response. Because the powers that be didn't like their reaction, their initial reaction, and barred them from playing or boxing or taking part in that event. That's why.
And Muhammad Ali took that. He took it all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States and won. He beat the United States of America's government, who then had to reinstate his license to allow him to go on to win additional championships.
But what did
Colin
he lose in the
Kaepernick, I
process?
understand what you're saying about him making a stance, but what he did and what Muhammad Ali did ain't even close.
Okay.
Not even close. Anyway, we're over time. It's 9:03. COVID is real. If you've got a relative that's over the age of 65, please go to Fresno County Health Department's website. See if you cannot register them to get a COVID vaccine to protect themselves going forward.
Have concrete fundamentals and a baseline in your own personal life, and have an understanding of what you will and will not put up with, and protect what it is that you love and that you have. Make your own stance in society. Love, peace, and hair grease.
See y'all next week. Peace.
Good.